What's up guys, D-Libs here. Today we're going to be doing a complete Black Ice tier list for Rainbow Six Siege. This doesn't include every gun, it is a pre-made template, but it does include all of the important ones, like Ash's R4C, Jaeger's Carbine, things like that. So we are going to be using this even though it is kind of old, and we're not going to be basing it off the gun, we're going to be basing it off of how it looks on the gun, the rarity, things of that nature, how much people want that Black Ice. So pretty much that's exactly how we're going to be doing this ranking today. And we're just going to do it right as they appear on the bottom of your screen here. So starting off with the FMG9, I don't know anyone who has this one or anyone who really wants it. We're gonna start it off in the C tier because it's not really as bad as getting a pistol, Black Ice, so we'll go with that. Now we have the LA A52, which is most notably Sledge's gun. I'd say this is a pretty good one, but it's not fantastic, it's not S tier material or really A tier material in my opinion. We really only ever use it on Sledge. I'm gonna give it B. Now we got the M590A1, definitely one of the best shotguns in the game, using it with mute, using it with smoke. I'd say that this is probably an A tier. I mean, you probably use it pretty often if you're using mute and smoke, so it's in the game quite often, so people are probably gonna want it more than, they might want an FMG9 or something like that, you know what I mean? Pistols most of the time are automatic D tier, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. SMG11, 100% an S tier. I don't know anyone who would turn down an SMG11. There's not many other Black Ices in the game that I have left to get, besides for the SMG11. I want it so bad, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that agree with me. Now the AR33, I don't know, like you probably only use this with Thatcher, maybe with Flores. It's not really all that great. I'm gonna go C tier. I don't know. I feel like that might be mean to the AR33 because it's not like it's a bad gun or anything, but hey, you know the rules, so that's not really what we're looking at here. Now the MP5K, I'd say this is a pretty good one. I don't know if I'd go A tier. Definitely not S tier. I don't know if I'd go A tier. I'm between A or B. Let's see, you use it when you play with sometimes if you're playing mute. I think I gotta go B tier. I mean, it's not in the game super often. It looks pretty decent on there, but I don't know many people that really envy this Black Ice a whole lot. I think B tier is probably fair. G36C, I just don't think this looks very good. I think a lot of people would disagree with me on that. It might be a hot take. I don't think that, it's not C material, but I don't think the G36C is a very good aesthetically looking Black Ice in my opinion. Now, on the contrary, the R4C, that's a no-brainer. That's going in the S tier. Nobody's going to argue with me on that one. Still yet to get the R4C. So that's both the S tier Black Ices that I don't have already. So this is just a great start, reminding me constantly. So now we got two back-to-back pistols. That's in the D tiers. Don't get me wrong, pistols are cool and all to have, but like, I don't know. There's not really anything all that exciting when you get a Black Ice pistol and you're hoping for something good, Now we get the M1014, which is fine and all, but it's not a fantastic shotgun. It doesn't get used all that often, and it certainly doesn't look as clean as our last shotgun that we put in the A tier. I'm gonna put this in the C tier. Now the 5.56 XI, I think this is definitely an A tier. I mean, that just looks so clean. This gun in general just looks kind of clean, and if you add the Black Ice on there, I think it just looks great. Plus it's thermite, it's a great gun to have, everyone knows it. I think it just fits this gun really nicely. Now the UMP 45, I don't know, it's just, to me, it's gotta be a B tier. I mean, I think it kind of goes along the same lines as the MP5K. It doesn't look all that amazing. I don't know. It doesn't really look clean, doesn't look polished. I think that the weapons that we've placed above it in the A and S tier definitely look just so polished. Like, it looks right, you know what I mean? UMP 45, I don't think it falls in that category. Now the F2, I don't know, I'm between S or A tier. I think S tier is the right call there. Back in the day, if you had the F2 Black Ice before she was nerfed into oblivion, I mean, you were just the top dog. So, I mean, you gotta put the F2 in S tier. The 417, I think this is going to be a C tier. It's not all that rare. I actually know a lot of people that have this one, and it's kind of one of those throwaway ones because you don't really use the 417 ever. You kind of forget that you have it. Not all that special. Now we have the French shotgun, the SQ CQB, I believe is what it is. Not very rare. You hardly ever use this shotgun in the game. Not that it's bad, but you just don't really use it. I don't think it would be fair to put this anywhere higher than C tier. Another pistol coming in that's going to go D tier. However, another pistol right behind it, the revolver, I'd say that's pretty good. If you have Black Ice revolver, that's kind of sick, I can't even lie. I'm gonna put that in the B tier, and I think as opposed to where its counterparts are in the D tier, I don't think it's a very bad deal for the revolver. I think the revolver is sitting pretty up there. MP5, no doubt, S tier. I mean, so rare. If you have MP5 Black Ice, I envy you so much. Now the P90, I don't know, this might be a hot take. I'm not really 100% sure what you guys think. I think this is the nicest looking black ice on a gun in the entire game. I mean, look how clean this looks. It's gotta be S tier. Glaz's Sniper, I'm not gonna lie, was the only black ice I had for a really long time. Like, literally, this was the only black ice that I owned, and trust me, I got clowned for it endlessly. So I'm already kind of scarred just by seeing this gun pop up here. I'm putting it in the C tier. I'm not sure if it's rare or not, but I know that it was the only black ice I had for about a year and a half when I first had the game, so we're just gonna leave it at that. 2 more pistols, just put it in the D tier. Really not that special. They're never rare. They're probably the most common you'll get. I have most of the pistols black ices in the game. Now we have the 6P41. You probably use this when you play Finka. Not a very aesthetic looking gun, not a very aesthetic looking black ice. Don't think you could say it's all that bad though. It doesn't belong with the FMG9, the 417, or Glaz's Sniper. I think we'll put it in the B tier right next to the revolver. AK-12, this is a great one. I don't know, if it's not S tier material. I look at some of these other S tier guns and I don't think the AK-12 belongs in there, but it is a great one to have. It kind of is the same exact reason for the 5.56 XI. It just fits. Like, look how clean that looks. And it's a decently rare one. I don't see it very often, so we're sticking with that. 9x19 VSN, this would be used on a zombie or Kapkan. Now, look, this is where it comes in. It's a little bit weird. So I think this is a really good looking gun with the black ice. I actually think it's really, really good. And if it was purely off that, I'd go A tier. But I see this all the time. Like, I constantly see this black ice, and I'm not sure if some black ices are statistically more rare than others, but from my personal sample size of me playing more hours of this game than I'm willing to admit, I'm gonna say this is gonna be B tier. It's just really not that rare. You guys may disagree with me, but that's what I'm going with. Now, I can't actually 100% tell. These icons are so tiny. I think this is the sausage shotgun. I'm not 100% sure. I'd assume it is, considering we just had the 9x19 VSN. This one is also very common, and like I said, maybe it's just from my own sample size, but I know a ton of people that have this. And the gun doesn't even get used all that often. It doesn't look all that great. We're going C tier. It also just doesn't really look that good. You know, it doesn't look all that great. It doesn't really fit the gun, I don't think. Another pistol. I feel bad for what we're doing to these pistols down here, but I think it has to be done. The AUG. I think this is a great one. I think it has to go A tier. I mean, just look how clean this looks. I don't see it very often. I don't think it's a very common one, and it just looks good. I think this is definitely a catalyst for A tier. Not quite in that S tier range, but I think A tier is pretty generous. Now, I believe this is the 5.52 Commando. I think it looks really good. As you can see at the very tip of the gun, it's like pure white, and at the very end, like the stock of the gun is like that really deep blue that some of the guns don't actually even really have. You can see with the pistols, it never really gets to that deep blue, and that's one of the things that I'm really looking at here. You know, how it goes from complete white, like really light colored, to really dark colored at the end, and like the gradient of it. And that's one of those reasons that the MP5K really didn't get pushed up, or the UMP45. It just doesn't have that perfect color to color ratio. And maybe I'm looking at it way too deep, but I think that the 5.52 Commando does. We're going A tier. I don't see it get played all that often. I think I have the 5.52 Commando black ice, but I don't see it very commonly, so. Now we have the G8 LMG. Now look, I think it looks good, but I see this all the time. Actually, this might be the most common black ice that I see in this game. I don't know, I think I have to go C tier. Maybe that's a little bit rude. Maybe I gotta go B tier. I think I'm gonna stick with C tier though. M870, this is a pretty sick one, I can't lie. It looks good. It has that really light colored to the really dark colored, and I don't see it all that often, but I don't think A tier it really fits in with. It's not really A tier material. I think it's B tier. So we're gonna stick with that. Jaeger's Carbine, come on now, you know exactly where we're putting this. This is the S tier. I don't think anyone was ever gonna really doubt that. There's like a big 3 of the best black ices in the game. I think it goes R4C, 416C Carbine, and then the MP7, and that's what's coming up right next. MP7 is going in the S tier. That's like the holy trinity of black ices. And you could probably include the SMG11 in there, make it a foursome. Oh man, I didn't even realize what was coming up next. This is gonna be 3 back-to-back S tier additions. I mean, Buck C8, I see it pretty often. I'm not gonna lie, I do see it pretty often, but I don't know. I think how good this one looks keeps it up in that S tier. Maybe realistically it should be A tier, but I think S tier is what makes sense here. Now the Cameras Marksman Rifle, this is going to probably be D tier. Actually, no, I gotta go C tier, because if you're gonna put the 417 in the C tier, I think you gotta put the cameras in the C tier as well. We're not gonna be mean, we're not gonna group it in with any of the pistols. Speaking of, here goes another pistol edition. I feel like maybe this is wrong, but I don't know, I feel like I can't have much mercy on the pistols. Super 90, this one's a little bit weird. Like I don't think it looks that great, but I don't see it very often. I think it's gotta go C tier, because I mean, like the M870 is kind of on that same range or the same level as it in terms of like how it is as a shotgun. But look at the difference. If I place it next to it, like look how nice that M870 looks compared to that Super 90. I think we gotta go C tier. I think that's just what makes sense here. Now the last gun we have available to us in this template is Frost's 9mm C1. I see this way too often. I think it's gotta be C tier. It also just doesn't look that good. You can tell it's like way too skinny and weirdly shaped of a gun for it to all fill out nicely. It just doesn't look all that great. So this is our final list here. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If I messed something up or if you guys disagree with something, let me know. Remember that it is like 85%, you know, personal preference, but I tried to take into account, you know, the rarity and actual aesthetics of the gun and how that all weighs together to hopefully make somewhat of an objective decision on where it should lay in this tier maker. So be sure to check out some of my other Rainbow Six Siege videos. I got tons of tier list videos or even tips videos if you'd rather check those out. And besides for that, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.